and the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown letter.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Hey, Islam to my Moors, right? This right here is about the Empress and the Supreme Court ruling, which was overturned, and it took them 2 years to run this game to steal our land. And if you notice, right after that, they ran the Civil War. Right around the same time, the Smithsonian Institute was running a game to try to cover up all the artifacts in 1846. So keep in mind, all of this stuff is going on in the 1848 when the court case is going on, when we won and got our land, but under 2 years of finagling and altering laws, they come back and overturn and say, pull everybody. And then if you notice that they come with the Abraham Lincoln game to run everybody into the federal jurisdiction with the proclamation and the 14th Amendment. So that tape we just put out really was, we're gonna be live tonight with Chief Rod Hayes. And like I say, Rod gave me that receipt about 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And then I heard the Duke of Tears talking about it. And then we heard it on the tape we just put out with Hakeem Bey. He's talking about the Empress. And so that brought up, hey man, this case. What about this case that they still don't want to talk about? We heard Bobby Hemmitt mention stuff about the Empress and how she won 68,000 acres. But they really keep that on the hush. But what it is, that tape is proof that they acknowledge that the Moors were rightful heirs to the land, especially the Louisiana Purchase and all the places where the mounds are, because we are the ancient mound builders. That's what that really is about. It's about them acknowledging that we were proof to the land, and then them sabotaging us, and pretty much they did everybody like that though. Don't feel sorry, because all of our tribes got done like that. They never honored any treaties. They make a treaty with you, then they burn it the next day. They come and steal your land the next day, next week. Soon as they make a treaty with you, right? So don't feel bad that stuff got over. You know how many cases got overturned? I'm working on a tape right now of how many Native American cases got overturned where their land got stolen. Don't forget about Andrew Jackson, Hurricane Jackson, right? That's what Chief Warhorse called him, Hurricane Jackson, because the court ruled that that he couldn't take the Cherokees' land, and he did the Indian Removal Act anyway. He told them that if I think it was Justice Marshall, your magistrates of Marshall, I think it was, that ruled that he couldn't take his land, and Andrew Jackson, being a tyrant and belligerent person that he is, went and did it anyway. So we're dealing with criminals. You're dealing with criminals. Keep in mind, this place was set up. The United States Corporation is ran by criminals. The high table is coming. John Wick's high table was ran by criminals. That's who own the United States courts. Criminals. So I got to keep all this in mind. So don't feel bad about unfair treatment. But like I say, our purpose was to show you that, because everybody was asking. And they was going with the hey, what part of the land were the Moors? And we wasn't just on a Louisiana Purchase. That when you put up the Louisiana Purchase, that's a little bit of land that we had left after they robbed us from the 13 colonies. Because we was all the way in Florida. I got some heavy duty stuff coming out about Florida. I'm telling you, man. But the Empress. We're talking about how the dark plot against the Empress. Once she got the land, you got to overstand for you newcomers. You got to overstand COINTELPRO operations. Overstand COINTELPRO operations, like Raw Hayes said, infiltrated the Empress and sabotaged her paperwork, stole all of her money. She go to the airport, they steal all of her luggage. They sabotage her plane tickets. And if she try to do a private jet charter, they'll bazooka it. They get the alphabet boys, the crooks in action, CIA, Knights of Templar, to blow it out the sky with one of them RPGs. If she go on a private jet to try to go over and file charges against it. This is how savage these guys are. You got to remember, they was finna get ready to use a rocket launcher on Malcolm X. They didn't want him to get over to file charges. Malcolm X became Malik El Shabazz. Who was these people that's talking against the Moors? We got so much fucking evidence to prove to you that they coming out. This is what this all about. I mean, who's fucking arguing this shit? Malcolm X changed his name to Malik El Shabazz. Unplugged, became one of the U.S. citizen no more. Got a nationality, started going to national conferences. We get ready to file charges against the international court, against United States courts for human rights. Right? We already went over this, human rights versus civil rights. And bang, they tried to kill him. And they was finna use a bazooka on him, RPG on him at the UN, but Bumpy Johnson saved him. Bumpy Johnson, y'all don't even hear about Bumpy Johnson really in history. You don't hear about Madam Stephanie Sinclair, the Queen. You don't hear about those Moors and her husband, who was these people owned airports in the 1900s, 1901, early 1910s. They own old airports. Nubians, Moors. So like who arguing this? So if the Moors wasn't a problem, why would they take out Malcolm X for trying to go with who had a nationality who was a Moor? Why would they stop Malcolm X because the Moors can actually file charges against them. That's what's on record. That's why the Empress and them won in court and got the 6,800 acres back. I mean, the 68,000 acres back from the government. And they ruled that the Moors, and they had in the record, in the scripts, in the transcript, they got MUU Moor and they got MOO Moor, but they got MOO Moor abbreviated. And then they got another name for us that predate that, that's called the Amaru. Amaru is, and they got it spelled AUMURRU, right? Amaru is another translation of Moor. And Amaru is the first part of America, which means rulers. In one definition, rulers. The word mir also comes in French, means seafaring people. Because the original Americans were the original seafaring people. Why you think that our Navy is still big as it is right now? Because we had the original big Navy. We had the original ancient technology, all the helicopters. Why they named after all of some family in those helicopters that's named after tribes. Those are tribes that were engineers on the land. That's what they don't want to tell you. I'm telling you, man, the gig is up. The gig been up, really. The gig is up since Noble Drew Ali in the Havana Conference in 1929 in Cuba. That's when the gig really was up. That's why they stock market crashed 1930. They put Noble Drew Ali out of business 1929. Essentially, they use apples to take our apples. These dirty boys, these dirty black Venetians, these Hemmitt burnt black guys who the Pope kissed their shoes, who put plays on everybody in the background. And then they up in the Malcolm X show hollering, "Get your hands out my pocket, get your hands out my pocket," because they trying to keep their hands in our pocket, and they call it levy and liens. The levy and lien guys, these levy and liens. I'm telling you, man. So, like I said, we were putting that tape out to prove to you that the Moors is the largest tribe on the land. That's the Washitaw tribe, which encompassed that whole land. All the tribes was in that land of Louisiana Purchase, which was larger, by the way, before they altered the maps. It was larger before 1803 when they sent Lewis and Clark's, who really is what Brokeback Mountain is all about. I don't recommend go getting a movie called Brokeback Mountain, but Lewis and Clark was the Brokeback Mountain episode. Go put that in your brain. And then Ben York, essentially, we still putting this together, is the guy that translated everything for these guys and was going around with these booty buddy guys, and him and his dog and his scout. Ben York had a scout. Okay, keep in mind, Ben York essentially is a dirty Moor. Ben York is a dirty Moor, but Ben York, essentially, for what Doc said, betrayed the French and only gave them the barracks. Sold them the barracks, New Orleans barracks downtown. They didn't get the whole Louisiana Purchase. This is what the Empress is arguing about, that they only sold them the barracks. They didn't sell them the street in the streets of New Orleans. They didn't sell them the land, the whole land. Or they didn't. I don't know if it was the sale is the right term there, because we couldn't sell land anyway over here. So I don't know if sale is the correct term now. But yeah, so to keep the Empress quiet, they gave her 68,000 acres. And they said, just stay right there. Don't go nowhere. Don't go off into the international courts complaining now about the rest of your land, because we colonized and took it, and we parasiting off of it. Right? And then you got these Siberians from Russia who are the original Slavics. Moors could never be Slavics. We never were Slavics. Slavic applied to slaves from Russia. And they were brought over as replacement and crews. And they're now going around, coming on, talking about one of them just made a comment saying, let's do a DNA test to prove who from over here. You really want to do that? Do you really want to do that? Because I mean, we can prove that the Armax is over here 6 billion years. And who is the Armax? The Bantu people. And I can prove to you that the Dogongs is over here. You Siberians replaced the Dogongs with y'all became known as the Hopis. But we know that that's the real people, that the real Hopis are the Dogongs. And that's why, and you want to know what they look like? The real Dogongs of California that was in the Grand Canyon carving all those structures. I'm gonna give you an example of who the people are today. That's the real Dogong, the real Hopi. Tory Lane. That's what I was telling them yesterday. Tory Lane is a real Dogong. Him and his dad, they family, and the people associated around. I can go into more people, but Tory Lane is a Dogong. See what I'm saying? But the Dogong, if you look, like I said, you could cross-reference all the information with the Dogong and the Hopi, and you will see the correlations. But the Baja tribe is the original mirror tribe to the Dogong tribe that's over in California. It's a perpetuated. I don't know why. I guess you know what I think. I think some people started a campaign against the Moors, and then when they find now all the evidence is coming out, now they're afraid to apologize and say, "Oh yeah, well, you know, I was wrong, man. The Moors are this or that." That's what it is. That's what it is. You can't have an ego or pride. You got to just keep it moving. It's just because I can look at how he look. I can look at how he look. I'm an expert in facial features, and now that all the information that's coming out, I can go down the line. Like I said, that the Hopi is not the people. The people that they replaced was the Dogon that was there. One of the groups of the original ancient Egyptians, the Dogons. And then they took him and put these Siberians and then said that they were the Hopi, and then they trained them in Indian training school on how to do all the rituals that they do. And they still ain't doing them completely right. But then they participate in these rituals to continue this propaganda to keep the people that's classified as black, Negroes, and coloreds, who are the original Dogons, like Tory Lane and his dad now and his family. And it's a hope. I just made Tory Lane because I know all y'all know Tory Lane, and you could get an image in your head when I say Tory Lane, when I tell you that Tory Lane is a Dogon or the West Coast Indians. Oh, and like the word Indian really is a misnomer too. I can go down the line because I done heard all of what I done heard the Duke's perspective on it. He gave about 2 or 3 different perspectives on it. I done heard Christopher Columbus, the Indigo, Black Ink. I done heard all of those perspectives. But that's another topic. Yes. Yeah, if I can tell what tribe you're from, if I can see what you see your facial, see your face. Yeah, I can tell what tribe you're from if I can see your face, facial features. But yeah. So when you're looking at people like ODB, you're looking at the Shinnecocks. You're looking at the Shinnecock is a mirror tribe to the Watusis. Okay. If you're looking at the Afar people are a mirror tribe to the Shoshone. Pull up pictures of the original Shoshone and put them next to the Afar people. You look at the same people, really. The Bantu people been over here for billions of years. They even rode the camel back to Africa 6 billion years ago. They the one that rode the camel. Now here's the kicker: the Armax that was over here, then because look, they try to ain't like, no offense to pale people, but y'all, the pale people not original nowhere. That Nubians wasn't there first. I'm telling you, man. So for a pale person to say, let's do a DNA test to see who was here first, that ain't even a challenge. When you're talking to a Nubian versus no offense, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. But yeah, but here's the thing: the Armax didn't build mounds. They didn't build pyramids. The Armax, the Bantu people, didn't build mounds or pyramids. The Bantu people, the Moors built the pyramids. Right, so the Armax is over here first. Let me tell you what created the Moors, the MUU Moors. Let me tell you what created the MUU Moors. All right, and I already did a whole tape called "How the Washitaw Became Moors," or how we became the Washitaw MUU Moors, mound builders. All right, so I already broke down that it was 3 extraterrestrial races that came influencing us on how to build these stepstone pyramids, and even just the pyramid with the point at the top, which later on Tahuti, right? But to make a long story short, the Armax is over here. Now, if you go read Genesis chapter 6, different groups of extraterrestrials came down to Earth. These were one of the names of these groups is called the Igigis, the Elohim, the sons of God. But it was different. What they don't want to tell you is there was different groups of extraterrestrials. They came down and began educating the humans. They talk about this in the book of Enoch. And this is what made Enlil and them mad. Right? Not Inky, because these were Inky people too. Inky was inviting them in to come down and get down with so he could create a plethora of information and superior knowledge in one basket. Murdoch got that same capability of what he was doing, what he was trying to get off too. But these beings, they set up an educational system and start educating these people on astronomy, which the Moors became well known for astronomy and traveling the earth using the stars. That's one thing that Shamgazu, who was the leader of these 200, it was 20 captains, the leader of these 200 essentially fallen guys taught these beings. Now these 8 children became the mighty mans, and they became the enlightened ones, which really was just the true meaning of what more really means. One of enlightenment. That's what it really means. Mu, one is abbreviation, which means one of, and then aura is the one, it means light or fire. We already broke that down on the origin of the on the origin of the word more tape. So there was 3 different groups within their groups that influenced us. At first, we started building the master box. And the children of these Igigis who mixed with the Bantu that was already over here became the Moors. And in that group, it was 3 different groups. One was the Nagas, and remember I was telling y'all, go pull up a Hindu UFO and see the ships that the Hindus came in, what they look like, and then correlate that with the Stepstone pyramids, and you'll see everything that I'm talking about. I already got whole tapes out on this called Hindu influence in ancient Egyptian culture. Even the cobra that comes from the Naga people, bloodline mixing in with us. That's why Mama Rabber got the cobra on her headdress. That's why in ancient Kemet over here and over there, we had some of the pharaohs got the cobra on their headdress because it's a rep, and they got the lion's mane or the cobra hood as their backdrop or headdress, right? That's because of the Naga bloodline, which influenced the mound building. And like I was telling everybody, go look up a king cobra. It's the only one. King cobra is the only serpent that built a mound. And that's the connection with the first step of the what you call a masabak, where we used to have actually birth and burial ceremonies. We had birth ceremonies and burial ceremonies in these what they call it, these first step mounds. And then not Hemmitt, it was Tahuti. Tahuti got the bright idea to start attacking them on top of each other, right? Then it's another group that came that the Dogon talk about, and the Hopi people, the alleged Hopi people, the Tarzizian, the ant race, who came down and showed them how to dig underground tunnels. And so then they began digging underground tunnels on top or under the mounds, right? Because of these other extraterrestrial group that was a part of these Igigis. Then another group came after that, after they started stacking them on top of each other, and Imhotep connects with Tahuti. The next group was doing, like I said, Pharaoh Huni, and they tried to get a credit to Sneferu. Sneferu actually created the perfect pyramid with the first actual point on the top. And Sneferu, if you look him up, he got a cone head. If you look up Huni, who's the real architect of the bent pyramid, the black bent pyramid, he got a cone head. So the cone heads were the next influence that influenced the point on the top. And they made movies about this and labeled it as comedy, so that when people like me, Doc really told us about it. And well, we knew about it from the movie, but Doc really pointed out that these were real people. And then we found out about a guy named Richard Shaver who wrote these comic books about these beings. Then we find the skulls of these beings. Then we hear stories and tall tales, how we call it, tall tales of certain in certain ancient Chinese traditions that talk about these beings and how they mix with them and how they got into a disagreement, and then these beings chose to go underground into advanced cave systems. This shit might sound too spaced out, but they are those beings are called the coneheads, or the Huns. Another group, the Huns descend from them, and the Huns came over and mixed in with us. That's why some of you Negroes got cone heads, walking around with a half cone head. Telling you got cone head in you. You don't see a lot of y'all got some cone heads, man. Or you got another group of beings who is the Yaku's drafted Yaku's ancestors, who are the hybrid Riskians called the Danako, who got big large cranium. We got the skull for them too, right? Because Yaku was a mix between the Teru coneheads. His mother was a conehead, and his dad was a Danaka. These big head beings that came to the surface and mixed with the old Mississippians and the Afar people in Africa. And they created what you, that's why some of y'all got the receding hairline. That's why some of y'all got a forehead that you can land a 757 on. You can land a whole airplane on some of y'all joint. You can put a whole runway. Dude got some of y'all got whole acres at the joint. You got the whole acre, 2-3 acres of worth of forehead at the top. Tell me, man. So you got that from another genetics from these beings called the Naka who live underground, who will keep control of these other beings called the Darus, they look like the Hindu god Ganesh with the elephant trunk nose. These beings, right? So we get, but don't think that we're going off topic, because this is about the Empress, the dark plot against the Empress to stop the Empress from going and file in international court to file charges just like Malcolm X was gonna do. And they sabotaged her, steal her luggage, invade her houses. They infiltrated her. Then they staged a murder. Right? Because we got to talk about that, about how they got these dudes to infiltrate and they staged the murder and used that as the pretext to say that they were a criminal, that the Washitaw Nation was a criminal organization. It's the same. We ain't got to beat that over your head. It's the same type of tactics that's been used for us, since the beginning of COINTELPRO history with Jed Gehuber. How they get your own Apple to infiltrate you. He do what they call illegal entries. What is illegal entries? Illegal entries is where they entice the organization to commit crimes, or they commit crimes themselves. And it's the one apple spoil the whole bunch, like I was telling you on the last show. They get them people to commit crimes. They did this to the Black Panthers. They did this to everybody. Anybody that they took down, Larry Hoover, Jeff Ford, Malachi, anybody. They did this to everybody, the same fucking tactic. But the only thing about it is they couldn't stick them to the Empress. But the only thing about this is, in a RICO, when they run the RICO, whatever they seize, they can keep. Under the RICO law, whatever they seize, they can keep. So all the Empress paperwork and all her shit that she had to pretty much file charges against them, when she tried to get it back, they say, by right, according to the RICO, we don't got to give it back. And then she gonna complain, say, these guys robbed me. Oh no, we didn't rob you. But you got to keep in mind, like I said, we had a perpetuated state of war. So those people were at war with the Empress. Why? Because the Empress became a threat. The Empress was a threat to national security. Because if too many people got that information, and you find out, hey, especially y'all in the Louisiana Purchase area down in Louisiana with the last name Washington, Clark, Turner. I got the list. Matter of fact, I already put the list out in the Native American Chief playlist, in the Tracing Your Ancestral History list. I'm a Washington, right? My dad's name is Charles Washington. My granddad's name is Charles Washington, my mama's dad. So but the Williams too, the Williams, the Millers, the Clarks, the Turners. It was a whole list of it, all the people that's on that list. And these people are Washitaw Moors, original to the land, and they want you to stay black, Negroes, and color, and they keep us entertained with the dumbest shit. You'll see that people like Funny Mike and all these other comedy guys got 300,000, 1 million plays. They ride around in Ferraris to keep you stupid and dumb. But people like me, Duke of Tears, B Dale, Black Magic, anybody that's a part of the blue pill, red pill, anything that we got Doc on it, anything they got Bobby, all these tapes are being shadow banned because they don't want none of this shit out. You see what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man. It's game. So, of course, the Empress was sabotaged by COINTELPRO. It's a normal tactic, but she was infiltrated, and as Rod said, that she was the red house, so it switched to the blue house. So now you know that we could have got Dr. Malachi York out, but people called and threatening the Empress. Rabbi, I ain't really supposed to speak on this, but they threatening the Empress. Got mercenaries calling her saying, you better leave this case alone. You better do this. You better say this. And you would be surprised the people that's connected to it. You would be surprised if I was to say any names. You'd be surprised. But I don't know what the situation is with how much land the Mama Rabber got. But I know I think the Chief Warhorse and the Empress Verdiacee got I know she got 68,000 acres back. And Doc got a certain amount of land back because he had already copped a certain amount of land, and then he had copped the other side of the land. Right when he copped the other side of the land, Sheriff Seals, who is a killer clown, and Judge Ashley A. Royals, who is Ashtar Command. Got to keep in mind, this go all the way back to Enlil and Ashtar Command. Ashtar Command is the one that influenced Yakub to create his superior race. Ashtar Command is the one that jumped time and influenced Hitler to create his superior race. You see the fucking pattern? You see the pattern? And so we're dealing with white supremacy. Dr. Malachi York is in jail to keep the white supremacy alive. Same thing with Jeff Fort, Larry Hoover. They killed Noble Drew Ali to enforce white supremacy. Because more supremacy is about to get ready to be enforced. And how if we enforce it? It's enforced by the people because this is the republic. Everything, all the authority is enforced by their people. But the people are not enforcing the authority. Why? Because they don't know no better. They don't know nothing. But that's all right, though. If you've been with us, you know something now. I'm telling you. By now, you know something by now. Shit. Telling you. We putting the whole Constitution out, all 27 articles. And then we breaking everything down. Then we just put the tape we just put out about the Empress. And niggas was complaining about the white guy voice. But now I got my voice on now. So now what niggas gonna say now? Now you still don't want to hear it out? I don't want to listen because the white guy said it. When Noble Drew Ali said, I'm gonna make the European tell you the truth. What is you saying? I'm making the European tell y'all the truth. But like I say, by putting that tape out, we just put out on the video side. What we're making a statement to say is they were saying what part of the land were the Moors a part of. Well, we just proved to you, according to their own records, that we was a part. We the Louisiana Purchase. We the biggest tribe on the land, the Mound builders. And so everywhere Mounds at, that's where the Moors. Everywhere was Mounds at, those tribes were Moors. So how about that? How about that one? And we can, if you want to keep fighting with it and kick it on the ground, it's all good. We'll know who you are after this. You kick on the ground all you want and scream and holler and don't want to go against that ego you got. That's all it is. Because truth is truth. We're at the day of truth is truth. We got to just accept the truth and just move forward. Ain't no arguments. You don't want to be with us, go on over to Europe or somewhere else then. If you don't want to be no more, go on somewhere else with them. Get the hell on. Because you against us, to me. If you don't want to be no more, get out of America. Young Elder City. And a fight come with it. Yeah, if you don't want to be no more, get out of America. So what? If you ain't no more, what are you? What are you? Because real Americans are Moors. But you're a Siberian, you're African. And I'm tired of arguing and playing with it. We got too much evidence proving the latter. We already showed you about the killer clowns and what they all about and why they rocking our crowns like they know about the Mounds, but they a whole bunch of clowns. That's why they dress up like clowns at the clown parade. They ride around in their clown cars and they after our kids. And they do, and every time somebody say they whole library is dedicated to stopping the Moors. Do I got to keep? Go pull up the Mama's Parade. What is the Mama's Parade really about? Why do we got to keep on arguing with people that whoever these people are? Why they blackface and wear our fez over in Europe to make fun of us? But the gig is up. That's why they behind. They cities burning down. They cities flooding. Everywhere they was making fun of us. They getting put out of business. We are the real ancient Egyptians. Even though the word ancient Egyptian is a misnomer, which means burnt face. We were Tamarians, the Tamarian Moors, the Tarzizian Moors. And they're gonna go, oh, M-U-U-M-O-O. Man, really, when I say Moor, you don't know which one I'm saying, unless I spell it out. Yeah, shout out Master Teacher Taj Tariq Bey, man. Says, yeah, man, but the Empress, I ain't got to beat it over your head on why the Empress was sabotaged. She had information. I remember she had the documents to the land and had got a certain amount of acres back already. So the COINTELPRO didn't want that to go no farther than what it got. So they was all full gas pedal to the metal to sabotage the Empress. And I'm telling who was around her who were COINTELPRO informants and agents, because they knew where to find all of her money and paperwork at. They raided like 7-8 different spots. And you know, when they came to town, they didn't even alert the sheriff. You know, the federal irrigation is just as federal as FedEx, and they damn sure don't got no reserves. And they don't got no authorization to arrest nobody. That's why they got to bring the sheriff with them to make the arrest. But during this case, so happened when they raided the Empress, they didn't alert the sheriff. They just raided her without the sheriff. Stole all her paperwork. Really didn't arrest nobody. Just stole all her paperwork and evidence. What kind of shit is this? If that ain't a hijacking and a perpetuated state of war, like I just told y'all, where some clown came on and said, "Oh man, we ain't in this war. Don't got nothing to do with us. How don't got nothing to do with us when we right in the thick of it? What the hell is this nigga talking about? Nigga, we been fighting. Well, I don't know what world he in. We say that we ain't a part of this war. I don't know what world he in because we've been fighting tooth and nail since 1492. I don't know what the hell he talking about. We've been fighting since 1492, and I'm pretty much longer than that, really." Because they started this shit in Timbuktu in 1478 when they shook hands with the middleman. We ain't begging for shit. We ain't begging for no more rights from the U.S. government, from a corporation that never honor anything that they promised us. But I'm gonna tell you, you know how we beat this? I see the first solution is to tribe up. We got to tribe up, and everybody need to know what's going down. Everybody need to know this shit. Everybody need to know everything that's going down. We need to tribe up, and everybody need to start teaching the kids. We need to get stronger, a unit again, families again, and start pumping nothing but this information and overthrowing the Spanish Inquisitions, the Inquisitionist information that they try to inject in our veins through the Rockefeller Foundation and other methods. See what I'm saying? And that's the game, man. You got to hit that like, hit that subscribe button. You got to hit that like, hit that subscribe button right now. Man, you better. Man, you better. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said, I can't see it. Make it block the comment. Yeah, man, we ain't taking no more shit, man. It's like this. And I'm gonna say this, man, because I can't leave you hanging. So, other people came. The Moors are the original Americans, but there are tribes that then mix that are not part of the Washitaw that then mix with the Hindus. See, the what make us one of the mixes that make us Moors is the Hindu mix. We got the Hindu mix in us. That's why our women are the Moorish women are the prettiest. We the most beautiful women in the world are the Moorish women. Cause they got that Bantu Hindu mix. I'm telling you, man, they got this, they got that pretty, you know what I'm saying? And somehow we used to wear the nose ring. They came from our Hindu tribe. The nose rings, the women, the ones like the Powhatan tribe in Virginia, with all the Pocahontas looking girls, the pretty girls. So a lot of the Moorish women are real Pocahontas. The Pocahontas was a Moorish girl. So all these broke Moorish girls got these exotic features because of the Hindu mix. And that's what gave us the different texture of hair, like an 8 and a 7 versus just a 9 nappy like the 9 ether hair, like the Sandsman's or the Twa. I'm telling you, man. But yeah, man. And then so we built ships and we sailed over to Africa and built pyramids over there. We sailed over to China and built pyramids over there. And not only when we sailed over there, not only when we as Moors sailed over to these other places, did we build and set up kingdoms and set up the sewer systems. The most advanced sewer system in the world is in America. And we set up sewer systems everywhere around the world because the Moors invented the sewer system. When Europe was peeing in pots and throwing out the window during the Dark Age, we had to go over there and clean them up. The Moors from over here in America. Right? We went to Africa and set up trading posts like Morocco. That's a trading post for us in America that we was go over there and trade with those people over there. And not only that, like I was gonna say, when we went to these different places, we as Moors, because we some freaky guys, Moors, we freaks. We like to get booty. We get to get booty, and that's gold and the other booty. Both sides of booty. We like to get both booties now. Right? So everywhere we go, we get booty with the people. When we land there, we get booty with them. That's the number one thing, man. That was our number one game. When we get there, we're going to trade with you, but we also want to get some booty with you now. Both ways. So we had babies with Africans. We had babies with the people, some of the people that was in Europe, which was really the people that was in Europe were the Twa and the Bantu people. And the Sandsmans and some of them areas. But Sandsman mostly migrated to Asia. But the Bantu people migrated up into Europe. That's who King George III and them, his mother and them, they just, and the Palestinian and the House of Wales, they all come down from the Bantu people. Go get a book called German Holocaust. That's who they really was exterminating, the Bantu people that was in Germany. That's who Hitler and them really was getting rid of. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. So we can keep going. Go get a book called Black Celts. It tells you about the Twa being up in Ireland, and on the book called The British Isles. I think of it, I got it in the garage. It's another book that tell you about how the Africans had migrated all the way to Europe, because Europe right there. All the way up and through Europe. But prior to any pale face was ever seen. The pale face is only 6,000 years in the game. The Africans been around a long time, and we over here been around just as long. We really the same. We really could get down to we come from the same people, the same origin, the same me, because it was only 4 original races on the planet. That touched the planet. You talking about the Twa, the Sands, the Hindu, and the Watusis, and so most all strands based on the DNAs come from that. Now the origin point is what we can argue, because we got an origin point now coming from over here in America versus the origin point from Africa, being that the Europeans came over here and colonized us with that concept. So we got a whole nother concept on that now. Yeah, but if anybody you see over here promoting the African back to Africa thing, at this point, man, either they agents, they slow, or you know what I'm saying, they in on it or something, man. Somebody got their bot, somebody cloned them, switched them out. I'm telling you, man. At this point, man. So yeah, man. Like I say, where the Moors at, everywhere where the mounds was. That's where we was. Everywhere where the mounds at. We was the one laying stone. We was the real mound builders, the real stone layers, the real masons, the real master masons. Our self-Lord and master. Islam. And not Islam Muhammadism, Islam civics, which is the rule of government, the rule of thumb. Not with an iron fist, but with peace. We don't got to rule with an iron fist like these suckers. This game is a non-contact sport for Moors. We into non-contact sport. We more linguistics with this. We got the gift, Moors got the gift of gab. So we could sit there and speak and talk, and we could come to an agreement. That's how they came up with the contracts and covenants and all this. We ain't sit there and have to barbaric and act like beasts of the field and march, get up in the line and march against each other. That was the pale man who dirty Moors hired as cleaned up and trained as their mercenaries and guard dogs to go when another, you know what they would do? When the Venetians, when they loan you some goods and you didn't pay them, they say, "Oh yeah, you don't want to pay." They send they enforcement. That's what it's called, enforcements. They send their enforcements in, which were a pale man pulled out the cave, shaved up and trained to fight with us. They were barbaric though and stanky. They would march right in, all head first. These guys, and so they would train these dirty Moors would train these guys to go attack other Moors who wouldn't pay them their money or couldn't pay them their money. To say, "Oh, you rough them up a little bit, tell them, you better have my money," because they are the original mafia. The dirty Moors are the original mafia. The Amorites are the ones, the front man for the original mafia. The Amorites are what people you call Italians over here now. That's a front man for these original mafia guys who are the Hemmites. The dark burnt black guys who the Pope kissing their shoes in the background over in Morocco. I just told you what it was, Erica, just now. And they really technically not Moors. The Hamites are not Moors. We are the Moors. They are the ones posing as us. They're not Moors. I'm telling you, man. Because the Moors descend from Shem. The Phoenicians descend from Ham, the Cushites, and although we got Phoenician, the Moors got Phoenician in them because the Hamites mixed in with us through Cush and the Afar people, right? So the Cushnim is the Phoenicians. They not the tribe of Shem, which is Abraham descend from. Abraham children, Abraham seed that number the stars, which is the Ishmaelites and Israelites, are the real Moors that come from Ara. One of Ara, a Chaldea. And Ham mixed in with that, some of his seed. So we got Phoenician in us coming by. I told you they tied themselves into the vine, not more than one time. Even with the Pocahontas thing, when they came over here and mixed in with Monteoka, who was Pocahontas' real name. So to me, the Hamites, they left from over here though, because based on the storyline, they left from over here. Because you gotta keep in mind, Noah had 3 sons. Utna Fishtoon is one of his names. Had 3 sons. One of them name was Ham, Ham, and Japheth. Genesis chapter 5, verse 32. They were triplets. They all were triplets. Keep that in mind. So Shem, Ham, and Japheth were triplets. But when we get into the sons and the curse be canon, and the separation of these sons down through the lineage, well, Esau is separated from Yaakov, and this is all symbolic, but it's also real history of the split of the families. Somebody said they was giving Africa right. Yeah, so essentially, Essentially, they could have been all this could have happened before the lands was completely split apart like they are now. The lands could have been closer together after the reset. But what was in Africa were a lot of the original Homo erectus genetics before the Homo sapien upgrade. They populated. That's why they find a lot of bones over there like that. Right? You know what I'm saying? But I believe the people that's in Africa, man, this devil's so cold. I believe he could have loaded up shiploads of people, tribes, and get them and repopulated them over there after he wiped out a whole bunch of shit over there. It's like this, man. It's like we find out new shit every day that the devil tried to cover up or some lie that he told. Every day that's changing our paradigm every single day. Right? They're about this devil. So I wouldn't be put it past, we can't put nothing past this devil. You see what I'm saying? We are the ancient Egyptians. We are the ancient Tamarians. And like I said, yeah, you're talking about the Greeks. Right? So you got the Greeks. Shem, Ham, and Jeffrey. And then, like I say, Ham is in Africa, Shem is in America, and Jeffrey is in Russia and China. And you got a mixture of both. Nah, see, look, it's like this. Abraham married an Egyptian woman. You got to keep in mind the people who were marrying Egyptian women, like Moses. So, like I said, the Hamites mixed in with us. That's how we got that's how we connect with this. But the bloodline, if you say Egyptian, right? Most people are under the impression that, okay, he mean the Cushites, which is a son of Ham, right? Correct. All right. So now keep in mind, another name for them people is the Afar, right? Now keep in mind, Abraham had a wife named Keturah, right? Who was connected with the ancient Egyptians. And then if you go back to the 12 tribes of Israel, where Joseph married an Egyptian lady, had two sons, which became two of the tribes of ancient Egypt, two of the tribes of Israel, which is the tribe of Manasseh and the tribe of Ephraim. They both were Egyptian tribes. So do I need to keep running it down? You ain't talking to no little sucker here. Yeah, Hagar was an Egyptian. Hagar was an Egyptian. That was Abraham's wife who produced Ishmael. So that make the Ishmaelites Egyptians who are Moors. So you want me to keep going? You want me to keep going? The Hamites become Africans later when they after the flood. They go over there. It wasn't even called Africa then. It was called Cuba land. Or Sudan, which means burnt black people. Just like Ham means burnt black people. The land of Ham. See what I'm saying? So when you talk about, okay, how are we Egyptians and we Shemites and we the Israelites, I can break it down of like I said, of how many people in the Israelite family married what they call Cushites or Ethiopian, the same thing as a Cushite. It's the same word. They try to play these games in the Bible where they say, oh, Cushite, Ethiopian, Egyptian. Like them all the same things. And it was more than one group of Egyptians. The Dogon is classified as one of the groups of Egyptians. The Twa man, go back and get that papyrus with Norma on there walking. Norma was a Watusi, and then he had Twa man on there walking with him. So them Twa and that Watusi is considered as ancient Egyptians. And then, yeah, the Phoenicians, which is connected to the Watusis, right? And Ham. But on that papyrus, like I say, you see Watusis, Twa, that's ancient Egyptian. Then you got Dogons, which is a whole nother tribe, which is a mix between the Bantu and Twa man. And then you got the Bantu, which is classified as ancient Egyptians, and the Bantu is a mix between the Twa and the Watusi people. And those Bantu people was over here in America. That's what you call them the Almacs. And then, like I said later, extraterrestrials, this is what Genesis chapter 6 come in at. Sons of God came down from Mars, right? But they originally from other places like Centaurian, the Lyran galaxy, the Orion galaxy. And these different beings came down and mixed in with humans, creating a more advanced race of humans. They're more intelligent. They knew more than the average regular humans. These became your Moors, your mighty people on the earth who knew about navigation and astronomy, who knew about makeup and lipstick and art. These guys. What you all know about the ice wall? We got about 10 tapes out on the ice wall, behind the ice wall already. We got about 10 tapes on the ice wall. Go look in the Galactic Family Life playlist. We got about 700 tapes in that playlist. But what you want to know about the ice wall? The earth is hollow. There's several different races that live beyond the ice wall. Mostly animals and what we consider as you got the Tunica, you got the Dawanis, the Terus, you got the Telosians, the Greys, certain groups of reptilians. Some were bad before they got exiled off the planet after the Pleiadian light lock, like the Vril, the Nazca reptilians, who are look more humanoid looking. They can shade shift, these ones. They all live on the other side. Then you got animals which start to be extinct, like piranhas in the water. And it's an ocean in the center on the other side of the ice wall called the Sargon Ocean or the Argon Ocean. They got a huge library at the bottom. Go get a tape we put out in the Galactic Family playlist called Journey to Sambella with Billy Woodricks, who is a Frugalord. That's another group that live on the other side of the ice wall, the Frugalords, which is Yaku's drafted beings. Yaku's family ancestors live on the other side of the ice wall, called the Nalkos. And it's about several different land masses, some of them larger than this on this side, on that side of the ice wall. And it's mountains higher than these mountains on this side, on that side of the ice wall. And they're in a fifth dimensional reality where like the air, everything is different. The water is more pure. The plants grow bigger, the vegetables and things. They put a movie out about it called Journey to the Center of the Earth. Go watch it. All the Journey to the Center of the Earth. It's about this other side of the ice wall. You're the king of the Frugalords. What about them? The clones are gonna melt down. You know what a meltdown? You know what happened when an old computer system melt down and it just don't want to work no more? That's what's gonna happen. The sun gonna cause them to melt down because they connected through a Wi-Fi system, a Wi-Fi link, an advanced Wi-Fi link, through a supercomputer on the dark side of the moon, controlled by Ashtar Command. A lot of this shit might sound crazy. But they got a supercomputer that can generate souls. I told niggas this a long time ago. Yeah, this land is the Moors. We the Moors. Islam, Noble. Islam, that boy Noble Step. Steps and Mason Bay. Yeah, man, we better get up out of here. You got any more questions so we get out of here? We just can't really break it down for you why they were sabotaging the Empress. And we just put out a 5 tape with my voice on there, my AI version of my voice, the best one I done got so far, on the video side about the court case, U.S. The Turner's Heirs versus U.S. Corps, where they beat the U.S. Corps in court. Then the U.S. Corps took 2 years creating all kind of new laws so they could come back and sabotage the Washitaw Moors in court. I'm telling you, man, this the games they play. We're going to be live tonight with Chief Rod Hayes at 9 o'clock, y'all. Y'all want to miss that. It's going to be about animal migration and the science of the totem poles, right? How we had totem poles before flags, but we incorporated flags once the colonizers came. So, and we probably had flags before the colonizers came, but because we were the ones that really started the flags. That's another thing I want to point out. Because we are the Moors. The Moors started the flags. So we started out with totem poles, then we went to flags when we started going into Maritime. And that's why in gang cultures, which is us, the Moors, the Crips and Bloods, but we are the Red House and the Blue House, Alhambra, the Red House, and then the Blue House, which is the Crips and the Bloods, both of Big Mama's houses. That's why we wear certain flags with certain with tribes had flags right now today in the gang culture, and it's all tied together. But we're gonna get more into that tonight with Raw Hayes on the flying the flags and the false flagging, like because Queen Isabella and her constituents, right, and her constituents false flag to trick the Baba Moors to get over here in 1492. They wouldn't have never made it over here, man. They wouldn't have had them Moor seals and flags. They hijacked Granada to get that from Ali now. But we better get up out of here, man, because we long-winded and we can keep on going all night. And we got more and more and MUU more for you, right? Free Malachi Z. York, free Chief Angel Malik L. Bay, free Larry Hoover. We out. Never have it been made so clear.